Alright, let's consider this example on the board. Determine angle A and B on this diagram. So this is quite simple. On the diagram, we have one point at the center as 210 and the other point as angle A. While this part is 50, this part is B degrees. Alright, let's reproduce the diagram on the solution. In this example, we have to consider the relationship between the transversal line that was drawn across the parallel lines in our previous video. If you haven't watched our videos, ensure you watch for a proper understanding. Okay, on this diagram we have 210 degrees at a portion on the center, and also we have 8 degrees at the other portion on the center. One of the theorems says that angle at a point is equals 360 degrees. Therefore, at this point we have one revolution, which is one circle, and one circle is equals 360 degrees. Therefore, we have 210 degrees plus 8 degrees gives 360 degrees. That is the condition. Angle at a point equals 360 degrees. Always ensure you state the condition behind. Angle at a point is 360 degrees. Alright, looking at the subject, 8 degrees is equals 360 minus 210 degrees, and 8 degrees is equals 150 degrees. 150 degrees. So we have obtained the value for A. To determine the value for B, we have to reconsider the diagram on the board. Let's reconsider the diagram. Let's produce the diagram by drawing a parallel line equals to this. A parallel line equals to this. Alright, this is parallel to this line, which is also parallel to this line. Let's call this x1 and this x2. In x1, according to the previous video we did, we talked about alternate and corresponding angle. That is the relationship established between the transversal line drawn across the parallel lines. So one of the relationships is alternate angles, and alternate angles are the same. So if that is so, x1 degrees is equivalent to 50 degrees. x1 and 50 degrees are the same. Therefore, we have 50 degrees plus 50 degrees is equals x1. This is 50 degrees. Reason alternate angles are the same. Again, how can we determine x2? To determine this x2, remember x1 plus x2 gives a degree, and a degree is 150 degrees. So if the entire angle is 150 degrees and part of it is 50 degrees, that is to say, to determine the other part, which is x2, we have to do this 150 degrees, 150 degrees minus x1. plus x2 gives a. x1 plus x2 gives a. And x1 is 50 degrees equals 50 degrees. And a equals 150 degrees. Therefore, since x1 is 50 degrees, let's substitute and call this equation 1. 50 degrees plus x2 to give 150 degrees. Therefore, x2 becomes 150 degrees minus 50 degrees. And x2 is 100 degrees. So since x2 has been determined, we can simply say that x2 is alternate to b degrees. Therefore, x2 is alternate to b degrees. That is to say, x2 is equal to b, and x2 and b degrees is 100. Therefore, we have a degrees as 150